They smile at your success, but listen to what they're really asking. These 5 questions expose the jealousy they're trying to hide, and once you hear them, you'll never miss the signs again. This question isn't about curiosity, it's about control. When jealous individuals ask how you obtain something, they're not seeking inspiration or guidance, they're conducting an interrogation, desperately searching for evidence that your achievement wasn't truly earned. Their minds cannot reconcile your success with their own stagnation, so they begin dismantling your accomplishment piece by piece, looking for the hidden advantage, the lucky break, the unfair edge that explains why you have what they don't. Psychology reveals this as cognitive dissonance in action. Your success creates an uncomfortable gap between their self-perception and reality. Rather than confronting their own choices or lack of effort, their psyche opts for the easier path, external attribution. If they can prove you got lucky, knew someone, or had resources they didn't, then their ego remains intact. Your achievement becomes circumstantial rather than earned, and they can continue justifying their own position without the painful work of self-reflection. Notice how they probe for specifics. They want timelines, connections, financial details. Each answer you provide becomes raw material for their internal narrative of injustice. If you worked hard, they'll find someone who worked harder but didn't succeed. If you took risks, they'll highlight how they couldn't afford such risks. Every path you took becomes either impossible for them to replicate or unworthy of respect. This interrogation serves another sinister purpose: information gathering. Jealous people collect data about your methods, not to replicate your success, but to minimize it in social settings. They're building a case file, preparing to whisper to others about how your achievement wasn't that impressive once you know the full story. The question isn't a question at all, it's a psychological weapon designed to reduce your victory into something explainable, dismissible, and ultimately beneath their concern. This phrase masquerades as reasonable concern, but beneath its surface lies pure psychological sabotage. When someone asks if something is a bit much, they're not offering constructive feedback. They're attempting to install a governor on your ambition, to pull you back down to a level where their own limitations feel normal again. Your expansion threatens their equilibrium, and this question is their weapon of choice to restore it. The psychology here is devastatingly simple. Jealous individuals need you to stay small because your growth exposes their stagnation. When you buy something nicer, achieve something greater, or celebrate something meaningful, it holds up a mirror to their own unfulfilled potential. Rather than use that reflection as motivation, they attack the mirror itself. By labeling your success as excessive, they attempt to redefine ambition as arrogance and achievement as showing off. Notice the tactical brilliance of this phrase. It doesn't directly attack you, which would reveal their jealousy. Instead, it positions them as the voice of reason, the grounded friend saving you from embarrassment. They're counting on social conditioning, the deeply embedded fear of being perceived as too much, too loud, too successful. This question weaponizes your humility against you, hoping you'll shrink yourself to earn their approval. What makes this particularly insidious is how it targets your joy. They wait for your moments of celebration, when you're most vulnerable to criticism, and inject doubt precisely when you should feel pride. The timing isn't accidental. Psychologically, they understand that seeds of shame grow fastest in soil meant for celebration. This question reveals projection at its finest. What they're really saying is that your level of success, happiness, or confidence is too much for them to handle. Your shine hurts their eyes, so they ask you to dim it. But here's what psychology teaches us: people who are secure in themselves never police the success of others. They celebrate it. This question strips away any possibility that your success resulted from skill, intelligence, or relentless effort. In the jealous mind, achievement must be explained through connections, not competence. By asking who you know, they're systematically erasing your abilities from the equation, replacing your merit with the comforting fiction of nepotism and networking luck. If your success depends on knowing the right people, then their failure simply means they haven't met the right contacts yet. Their ego survives another day. Psychology identifies this as the fundamental attribution error working in reverse. When we succeed, we attribute it to our character and capabilities. When others succeed, jealous individuals attribute it to external circumstances and advantages. This cognitive distortion protects their self-concept while simultaneously devaluing your accomplishments. Your hard-earned victory becomes nothing more than being in the right place at the right time with the right handshake. Watch how this question evolves once you answer it. If you mention a mentor, they'll claim that's the real reason for your success. If you network strategically, they'll call it unfair advantage. If you built relationships over years of genuine connection, they'll reduce it to knowing people. Every answer you provide gets twisted into evidence that confirms their predetermined conclusion. You didn't earn this through merit alone. The question also serves as reconnaissance for their own path forward. But here's the psychological trap they've set for themselves. Even when you share exactly who helped you or how you built relationships, they rarely take action. Why? Because deep down, they don't actually want the answer. They want the excuse. Asking who you know gives them permission to believe success is about access rather than effort, which means they can avoid the uncomfortable work of developing their own competence while maintaining their self-image as someone who simply lacks connections. This question arrives wrapped in the language of care, but it carries the poison of doubt. When jealous people ask if you can handle something, they're not expressing genuine concern for your well-being. They're projecting their own limitations onto your capabilities, attempting to convince you that the opportunity before you exceeds your capacity. Psychology calls this projection, the unconscious defense mechanism where individuals attribute their own inadequacies to others. They couldn't handle it, so surely you can't either. The tactical genius of this question lies in its apparent thoughtfulness. It positions the speaker as protective, worried, looking out for your best interests. But strip away the performance and you'll find something darker, the hope that you'll second-guess yourself. They're planting seeds of imposter syndrome in fertile ground, betting that you already harbor some private doubts about your readiness. Their question doesn't create your insecurity, it amplifies it, giving voice to your inner critic and lending it external validation. Notice the timing of when this question emerges. It rarely appears during your struggles or setbacks. It arrives precisely when you're about to leap, when you've been offered the promotion, the opportunity, the platform. The jealous mind cannot tolerate watching you expand into your potential, so it intervenes at the threshold moment, hoping to freeze you in place. This is psychological sabotage, disguised as friendship. What makes this question particularly damaging is how it erodes your confidence from within. External criticism you can defend against, but doubt whispered as concern penetrates deeper. It makes you question not just the specific opportunity, but your fundamental capability. And here's the mechanism they're exploiting. Capable people often underestimate themselves, while incompetent people overflow with confidence. They're counting on your competence to make you vulnerable to their manufactured concern, hoping your self-awareness becomes self-doubt that keeps you exactly where they need you to stay. And here's what psychology teaches us with absolute clarity. Jealous people ask these questions not because they care about the answers, but because they need to protect themselves from the truth. The truth that your success is possible. The truth that their excuses are exactly that, excuses. The truth that while you were building, they were watching. While you were risking, they were hiding. While you were growing, they were shrinking. Their questions aren't about you. They never were. They're about the unbearable gap between who they could be and who they've chosen to remain. Your existence at a higher level shatters their carefully constructed narrative of impossibility. You are the living evidence that destroys their comfort. So the next time someone asks how you got something, if it's too much, who you know, or if you can handle it, recognize it for what it truly is. Not a question, a confession. A confession that they've already decided their own limits, and they're terrified you will keep proving there are none. Your success doesn't require their validation, your growth doesn't need their permission, and your potential certainly doesn't depend on their belief. The only question that matters isn't the one they're asking, it's the one you ask yourself. Will you let their jealousy define your ceiling, or will you keep rising until their questions fade into the irrelevant noise beneath you? The choice, as it always has been, is yours. Choose power, choose growth. Choose to make their questions so absurd by your achievement that they stop asking altogether.